So we're continuing our discussion now about the record navigation feature pack for the Dialog component, and we're going to now describe how this functionality was added to the Dialog. So now let's go back to our original simple Dialog over here and go back to design mode, and the first thing that we're going to do is enable a next previous button on the Dialog. So I'm going to go back now to design mode and go to server-side events, and I'm going to go now to the on-dialog initialize event. And in order to implement next and previous functionality, you need to know what next means and what previous means, or what record do you mean when you say go and fetch the next record. So in order to do that, we've added a new action to action server-side action scripting, which is load primary keys for parent table. So what this is going to do is it's going to do a query for all of the primary keys in the current table, the primary table of the Dialog, and then send those primary keys down to the browser, so that then when you say next, you can find out what the next primary key is that you need to go and fetch from the server. So let's go ahead now and click OK, and I'll just call this action load keys, and then I'll click OK over there, and I'm not going to choose any other options at all. And you can see here that I've set the maximum number of keys to retrieve from the server to 1,000. So I'll go ahead now and click OK. And now next what I'm going to do is go and put some record navigation buttons on. So you can see that in this category of defined controls, there's record navigation buttons over here. So I'll just go and choose that, and then save my Dialog now and go back to working preview. So now you can see that I didn't have to actually press the button to populate the Dialog, because as soon as I chose that action to populate the keys, we automatically populate the Dialog with the record for the first key that was retrieved. But now I can just go and press next, or first, or last, etc., and I can navigate through my Dialog in much the same way that you would navigate through, say, a regular form in a desktop application. And you can see that the performance is really excellent, and that's because on each server round trip, the only thing that is being sent back is the data in JSON format. So this is a very lightweight component, and the payload that is going over the network is extremely small. So now that we've got all of the keys loaded in, let's go now and add the additional navigation methods that we saw in the previous video, which was the slider and then the list view. So first, in order to put the slider on, we need to specify where we want to actually put the slider. So I'm going to go back to controls, and now in the list of other controls, you'll see that there's a new control here called placeholder. So I can go and put this placeholder anywhere that I want. So I'm going to move it now to the top of the list, and I'm going to give the placeholder a ID called slider. And now I'm going to go back to my server-side events and edit this action that is retrieving the primary keys, and I'm going to now say that we have a slider. So I'll say yes, and then I need to specify the placeholder for the slider, so I'll go there and choose slider. So I'm going to go now and click the OK button, and then save this, and now run this. And so now you can see I have a slider now telling me that there are 60 records in my current query, and I can move around the slider, and as I move the slider, we're navigating the record. But when I'm moving the slider right now, you can see I'm not getting anything that's really informative about telling me exactly what record I would be on if I were to drop the slider. So let's go back now and edit some of the properties of this slider, and we'll pick this up in the next video.